question is that the motion be agreed to. The Honourable Dr Nick Smith.
Mr. Speaker, if Mr. Little
No, here we
and
go.
Mr.
He's the
Twyford
member.
were decent human beings,
Gone to Parliament today and apologised to the Chinese community. The gall of that speech from Mr. Little to talk about truth and integrity when he spent the last year telling New Zealanders that 40% of the people that are buying properties are Chinese, when Mr. Twyford knew that that information was false. Mr. Speaker, it was deliberate, it was calculated, it was an attack on one group, one ethnic group of New Zealanders for cynical political gain. Mr. Speaker, the whole debate has been a shameful chapter in the once proud history of the Labour Party. I've come to expect that sort of politics from Winston Peters. I've come to expect that sort of politics from the Donald Trumps, from the Le Pens, from those in Australia like Pauline Hanson, like the UKIP party, but I did not ever in my career in this Parliament expect that sort of tawdry politics from the once proud Labour Party. I've got no doubt that people like Peter Fraser, people like Norm Kirk will be spinning in their grave knowing that people like Mr. Twyford and Mr. Andrew Little are prepared to trash the heritage of the Labour Party as a party that's prepared to stand up for minorities, to stand up for inclusiveness, when over the last 12 months they have used such an awful argument to target that Chinese community. Mr. Speaker, let's look at the data. We now know the tax residency of every single home purchased and settled in the 6-month period to the 1st of April. And we know exactly the number: 1,692 sellers were overseas and 1,695 sold from overseas. Is this some tsunami of foreign ownership that is coming over New Zealand? 6 months, a net change of 3, and that's a reduction of 3 in terms of the number of overseas persons residents. And the member asked, is they Chinese? Actually, we know exactly. 444, or 0.7%, were tax residents in China. And I've already heard, Mr. Speaker, from a New Zealand citizen, overseas tax resident in China, who bought a property in that 6 months, who is a New Zealander who's included in that number of 444. Mr. Speaker, there is a power of difference between 0.7% and the claims of members opposite of 40%. And I say again, who on the Labour Party has the courage of their convictions to get up and do the right thing and apologise to the Chinese community in New Zealand? I know Annette King knows in her heart of hearts that this is wrong. I know some of the backbenchers are on the record of saying this was wrong. And I simply say to members opposite, let's, moving forward, have an intelligent, honest debate on housing. Let's focus on land supply. Let's focus on the issues of the RMA. Let's focus on the issue of building materials. Let's have a debate on the issues of infrastructure. But can we at least unite as a parliament in saying that targeting, scapegoating one element of New Zealand, one group, Chinese, is a disgrace, and this parliament won't have a bar of it.
Order. Fletcher.